Alright, hey everybody, this is another video from me, Midwest Bath Gal. So what I'm going to show you guys is how to do a melt and pour shaving soap. So what I am using is the Brambleberry shaving soap base. I am going to be using the Shave and a Haircut scent. This was the part of the men's fragrance oil sampler kit. Then I'm going to use blue to color it just a little bit. The alcohol that I use is from my local CVS. It's 91%. I'm going to use that to get rid of the bubbles on top. I've got a spatula, my stainless steel ladle, so it's easy to scoop out into my molds. I'm going to use a double boiler method. I have water here in my pot. I have a pot to melt it in. And these are the molds that I'm going to use. They're just silicone round molds. So this process does take quite a while to melt down. You want to make sure that you don't have too much water in your double boiler here, otherwise you will overflow, and we don't want that because then it just makes a big old mess that nobody wants to clean up. Normally I just set the pot in there and then do my water, but I was trying to save time, and in reality it cost me more time. So alright, so first things first, we've got to cut this up into smaller, manageable pieces. And I haven't moved my cutting board yet from the old shop to the new shop here. So I'm just using, I found this at our local dollar store. And that's what I use to cut my melt and pours into new little tiny, more manageable pieces. Let's go ahead and get this opened. It's easier when you don't have gloves on to peel that off, but safety first, right? Okay, so I just go in, and they don't have to be perfect, just for the simple fact that they're being melted, and nobody, except you and me, are going to see this. Down a little bit. I always like to preheat just a little bit. And then once I have them in cubes, I just go ahead and drop them in. And I cut mine, and I know a lot of people cut theirs, just because it's easier to melt it, and it's faster. and you don't end up scorching it. And you don't have to have your pan up very high either. So that's one thing that I did also want to point out is you don't have to have it up very high. A 1 or a 2, you know. And this hot plate I got at our local Walmart for $10. Just because here in my lab, it's not really, I guess you could say feasible to have a stove in here. I mean, it could be done, but, you know, it's kind of set up like a science lab in here. So there's not a real good place to put one. I mean, I've got some space around this corner right here that I could put it, but that's where I do my packaging. So I'd rather just use a hot plate. And then next door, I have a freezer that I have access to. It's a big deep freeze. It's a stand-up, commercial grade, that I use for anything that I need to freeze. And I label it, put it in, you know, Ziploc freezer bags, and so it works out pretty good. And, you know, all of that is included in my rent, so it's a pretty good deal. I don't have to worry about it, so. And as you can tell, stuff is a little sticky, as far as sticking to my thing here, but I mean, it's not bad. It's manageable. I'm sure if I used probably like a cheese knife or something, it probably wouldn't stick. But, you know, I don't mind this. And, you know, if you've got a knife at home that you'd rather use, go for it. I just like using this. Because I have no chance of cutting myself. And those of you who know me, totally accident prone. Like Thursday, this last Thursday, I was putting in the shelves behind me, this way, my stainless shelf, and I smashed my finger, and it destroyed my ring, like it totally broke my ring, but my wedding ring. However, we believe that it saved my finger's life. Because otherwise it would have probably taken off my finger, so my husband says. And that's just water from where I put the pot down. So, with that being said, it saved my finger. And it is hanging out at the jeweler right now. And they're trying to figure out if I'm going to need a new one or if they can fix that one. And it's looking as if I'm going to have to get a new one. So, you know, oh well. I mean, it'll be the same ring, just not the same ring. You ladies know what I'm talking about. I'm going to unwrap my second bar here. Now, I have noticed that with 2 bricks, It's only going to fill one of these trays plus 2 individuals on a second tray. Which is totally fine with me because that means that there's 10 bars of 1 cent. For me, this works out just because I am just getting into the men's market. So I do not have a lot of men clientele. However, with Christmas coming up, I am hoping that that will change. So we will see. And these also are really nice because they can apply it directly to the face, or they can put it in a cup and use it with one of those fancy shave brushes. So that's what I like about having the round, I guess you'd call it a cup, really. So, oops. See? Things just happen sometimes. As you can tell, it's starting to warm up a bit. So I'm just going to turn it down to 1. Well, I say that you guys can't tell, but I really don't know if you can hear the popping there of the double boiler. And the reason I use a double boiler is just simply because I don't want to accidentally scorch the soap. So for me, and for a lot of soap makers, this is the preferred method. Turn it up just a little bit. And my first brick is already melted because I made them so small, which is great. Saves time. Yes, you're cutting a lot more, but in the long run, you are saving that time. You just scrape it off. And I even found this pot at a thrift store. I was just looking for something that, you know, in case I ruined, I wasn't going to be super mad about it. Like, I didn't want to, like, use my good pan, my good stainless pan that I have at home that I spent a lot of money on. So I just found this for a couple bucks at my local thrift store. And I took it home and I sanitized it, washed it, and then sanitized and washed it again. I made sure that all the nooks and crannies were taken care of because, you know, as a soap maker, I'm really paranoid about germs and keeping things nice and tidy and clean. Just like before I started, what you didn't see is I sanitized my counter space. And the only reason I'm cutting on a paper towel is because I don't want soap residue on my counter. So that's the only reason. But like I said, I usually have my cutting board. It's just still at the old shop. So it's no big deal. We spent, let's see, Thursday I moved stuff by myself. And then Friday my husband helped me. Saturday we had the market and we brought all my market stuff back here. when we were done at the market. And then Sunday, he helped me move the bulk of my stuff. And I should actually mention that my husband on Saturday moved my shop stuff by himself because I was not feeling well. And he knew that, so bless his little heart, he took the initiative and did that for me. And so it took him 2 trips to go with the cart from the car to get all my market stuff back in here. So I am very blessed and thankful that he did that for me. It's always nice when you have somebody to support you like that. Who's not always that lucky, you know? So, it took me, well, let's see, I'm 37. We've been married for just over a year. We've been together since late 2013. So, yeah, I've not always been the lucky girl. So, with that being said, that's okay. You know, we gotta go through a bunch of toads and frogs to find our Prince Charming, right? As sad as that is, and frustrating. But hey, we can survive anything, right? So I'm almost done here. Like I said, it's very tedious cutting all of this up. And also, you know, you can cut this stuff up before you start heating everything up and melting. And you can just add it in little by little. That's totally okay to do too. So don't think that, you know, just because I do it this way, you have to do it this way, because that is not true at all. You just do you, girls, or guys, girls and guys. So, I'm not sure you can see, there we go. So as you can see, some of it's stuck together, so you just go in there. And you don't want to stir this too much, because see these little bubbles on the side? We want to keep as many bubbles as possible out of our product. Yes, the alcohol, the rubbing alcohol, will help with that. However, sorry, moving the camera here. However, it looks better, and you don't have to use as much alcohol on it. And then again, that's my personal preference again. So while we're waiting on that, I'm gonna grab a drink here. Grab my hand sanitizer. Like I said, I'm very germ. I wouldn't say crazy. Maybe the correct term is conscious. I don't know. You're a little too much. But anyway, so I've been a licensed esthetician since 2012. So I decided I wanted to do things for my customers to where they have natural options. And so I just kind of started experimenting and using my family as my guinea pigs. So I just started from there, and then I started watching some YouTube channels. And I bought some books, and I went and got certified in aromatherapy. So I just really wanted to learn all the aspects and tips and tricks and quirks and turns and all of that before I really started getting into anything. So I would say my research before I actually started making anything was like, probably a year and a half of just reading and watching YouTube videos and whatnot. And then I started making lip balms and lip scrubs first, and that went over really well. And then I started making essential oil roll-ons, which went over really well. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, everyone. Just getting a phone call. Not sure who the number was. It's a local number. But anyway, so yeah, I just researched and a lot of trial and error. It wasn't until this year that I actually started doing CP, which is cold process soap. I finally was brave enough, with the help of Ariane Arsenault, to branch out and do cold process. I also grabbed a mentor, Kathy, and she helped answer a lot of questions along with Ariane. So, you know, I did my research and bought little things here and there just so it wasn't such a big expense. Sorry, everybody, my phone is going crazy. Normally, I do not get phone calls and, interruptions. So, with that being said, I bought, things here and there so I could not have such a large expense, right out of the get-go. I did, when I first started, register my business name. I live in Missouri, so I registered my fictitious business name, and I created an LLC, and I secured my website domain, and I just kind of, started the process really slowly. I started watching sales at Michael's and Joann's. I started looking on Amazon and eBay and the Soap Stash groups on Facebook. And then I also started watching garage sales and my local thrift stores, because any sort of silicone mold you can use. You can also use metal ones. Gosh, I love this. It smells so good. So, you know, there's all kinds of outlets for you guys to get started and it be affordable. You know, you don't have to buy brand new. You can buy repurposed. You know, I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. Just make sure that you guys are being smart about it and you are, you know, sanitizing everything, you know. So the shave and haircut, if you can tell, turns it a little cloudy. And that's okay. It went from a translucent to not. So I'm going to bring you guys over here so you can see. Sorry, just like shaking you guys all over the place. Let's see if I get closer. Oh. Here we go. All right, so this is how I do it. I make sure that everything is nice and stirred and ready to go. And then I take my ladle, which this one is, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's a 1 ounce ladle. I got it at a Restaurant Depot store here in town. And the good part about that place is if you have a business license, you can go in there. So if you've formed your LLC or your corporation, you can go to these places and shop. And then if you get a sales tax ID number, you don't have to pay taxes on your purchases because you pay taxes, you know, quarterly or monthly or, you know, however you set it up with the state. So, you know, that's really good. I know it takes a little while to get your state ID and stuff. With the LLC, I didn't pay anybody to do it for me. I just went on, what was it, the IRS or Small Business Association, something like that. I'm sorry, guys, I can't remember right off the top of my head. But, yeah. So I just went on there and did it myself. I didn't use LegalZoom or anything like that. And it cost me like, I think it was $50 or $75. So, you know, it wasn't much to protect myself. And then I looked at, you know, my insurance options, which I ended up going with a local insurance agent with State Farm, just because I had the ability to pay monthly instead of the Handcrafters Guild insurance that I had to pay for the whole year up front. But if you can do it up front like that, I suggest going with them. A lot of soap makers use them. They also cover candles. So if you're going to, you know, go with candles at some point, you know, go with that. Mine does not. So I have to have separate candle insurance. So, but my business insurance is only like, I think $40 a month. So, I mean, it's affordable. Especially, it's got like a 1 million, 2 million coverage. So, whoops, if something happens, then I'm good. Because, you know, some people, they have allergies or sensitivities and they don't always tell us, you know, or sometimes they don't even know. You know, I've ran into that a couple times where, you know, people didn't understand what was in the product, or, you know, if you had a certain ailment like asthma, diabetes. I think that was a little overkill, but that's all right. Those things affect your body. Medications affect your body. So, you know, these are things that people don't know or don't think of. So, as a handcrafter, we have to know what we're doing, and, you know, make sure that we're telling our people the correct information. Like, just because, for instance, there's a person that I work next to that has a booth next to me, and she does skincare stuff. She's a nurse, and she tells people that it's okay to put her scrub on their face, but it's not polished, so it's going to leave microscopic tears on their skin. And she just doesn't know better. And you know, she'll tell them, well, I ground it up finely, but that's still gonna leave tears on your skin because they're not polished. They're not round underneath. Not underneath. They're not round under a microscope. So, you know, she's not, I don't know. I wouldn't say that she's misleading, because, I mean, she is, but at the same time, she doesn't know herself. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to say to that, but, you know. I do me, that's all I know. And I take care of my clients. So, yes, I know that if I just would have poured it in all of it, it would have went faster. But I didn't. My bad. I like to ladle it in just because you never know, like, if you're gonna spill and, you know, all that stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to knock some bubbles out. Not sure why. I hate to put a bunch of, there we go. I always hate to put a bunch of alcohol in there. But anyway, so this, and see how it's already starting to set up? So this is already starting to set up, so that is awesome. So in a couple hours, these will be good. My last ones I let sit overnight, and I unmolded those this morning, and I'll show you. Excuse my floor. So that's what these are right here. They are the rustic woods and rum. This is the end of a bar that I made. This is Sugar Plum Fairy Soap that is getting ready to come out this weekend. No, next weekend. No, the weekend after Labor Day. Oh my gosh. Like, things are just getting crazy. And this is my Grape Ape lip balm. It's vegan, that I just made last week. And it's getting ready to be packaged. So that is it for me. Go back around here. So that's it for our shave and a haircut. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. And have a great day.